Representatives, the People's House of Congress. And we're going to need to push that majority to work for us and to vigorously investigate Trump and all of his henchmen. But before we can get to that point, before we can even get to January, we have to start work on the other civic obligation we have, and that is to keep the people who are elected to represent us responsible to us. We know that we have to fight through this period where Trump is going to try in every way he can to sabotage the Mueller investigation. Now, looking out at all of you today, I am reminded of another protest that happened just about a year ago on these same streets. A lot of us thought, and a lot of us still think, that a St. Louis police officer got away with murder. And a lot of brave people came out to the streets to protest that. And something terrible happened. The police department of this city attacked those people. It beat those people. And it did that because the police became more concerned about their own position, their own perspective, about protecting the name of a brother officer than about doing what they were supposed to do and protect the people. They went from being public servants to being self-servants. Now, the reason I bring that up is because we've got a much bigger self-servant problem right now than the police department of St. Louis. We've got a self-servant in the White House. We've got a self-servant in chief, and that is a huge problem. Our self-servant in chief has forced out Attorney General Jeff Sessions and replaced him with Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker. Now, if you had told me 2 years ago that I would be out here protesting the removal of Jeff Sessions as Attorney General, I would still be laughing right now. Jeff Sessions should never have been Attorney General. He is the worst Attorney General this country has ever had. But that's how bad things have gotten, that we have to be upset that we've lost the worst Attorney General this country has ever had. Now, we all know why that is. We know the only reason that Jeff Sessions is no longer Attorney General is because Trump wants nothing else but to protect his own skin. He wants nothing else but to replace Sessions with someone who will protect Trump from the Mueller investigation. Now, think about that for just a minute. We're talking about the Attorney General of the United States. We're talking about the person who is the chief law enforcement officer of this country, responsible for fighting crime, for protecting us from terrorism, for fighting against and enforcing against discrimination. And Donald Trump, the only qualification he cares about for that crucial job is someone who will protect Trump's name, Trump's freedom, and Trump's money. I'm trying to turn my pages here. It got cold and dark out here like it did in America very fast. All right, now Trump's appointment of Whitaker raises all kinds of problems, especially when it comes to oversight of the Mueller investigation. And since I'm a law professor, I guess this is the stuff that I'm supposed to be telling you about, that I'm supposed to know something about. All right, so first of all, there's some very good arguments, legal arguments, that Trump can't even appoint Whitaker to be acting Attorney General. There's a federal law that says that Rod Rosenstein, we know, the deputy AG, he, not Whitaker, should be leading the Justice Department. The Senate has never confirmed Whitaker for anything. He should not have this job at all. And then, when we start looking at Matthew Whitaker, he's got some serious conflicts of interest with the Mueller investigation. Matthew Whitaker ran a political campaign, a state political campaign, for a man who is now a witness in Mueller's grand jury. Beyond that, Whitaker has written and spoken extensively in public about how the Mueller investigation has gone too far. The Mueller investigation should be shut down. Now, it's not enough that he's wrong about that. He's been incredibly irresponsible. He said Mueller shouldn't be looking into Trump's finances. Whitaker doesn't know what Mueller knows. Whitaker doesn't know what connections Mueller has drawn between Trump's finances and the Russia investigation. Whitaker just wants to protect Trump, and now he's the guy who's in a position to do it. None of this should even be happening. Whitaker isn't qualified to be acting Attorney General. He only has the job because he'll obey Trump like a zombie. The Mueller investigation is crucial to the integrity of our government, our national security, and the rule of law. We cannot let Trump and Whitaker sabotage Robert Mueller. That's right. Now, how can we stop this from happening? What can we do? Well, there's another great protest I'm thinking about 50 years ago in Chicago, in the Democratic Convention, challenging a corrupt system. And in that protest, like in the one here a year ago, the police beat up the protesters, but the protesters responded with words that have echoed down through the eras. The whole world is watching. That's the key to what we need to do. The only thing that we can bring to bear on this corruption, on this abuse, is public attention, public outcry, and public backlash. So, don't be fooled, and don't let anybody be fooled if Whitaker and Trump don't fire Miller. Whitaker can try to sabotage Miller in all kinds of other ways. He can try to cut the budget for the investigation. He can order Miller not to investigate Trump's finances. He can even try to change the rules of the game, the regulations under which Miller's investigation is happening. Any of these things would represent a completely unacceptable abridgment of the rule of law and unacceptable interference with Miller's investigation. We need to make the world watch Trump and Whitaker every second of every day so that they can't get away with a cover-up and a whitewash. We need to demand transparency so that we know every move that Whitaker makes. Yes. We need to demand that Whitaker not interfere in any way with Miller's investigation. If and when Whitaker does interfere, we need to demand his removal and the restoration of autonomy to the Miller investigation. Yeah. And when our new House of Representatives arrives, that will help, but it won't be enough. We will need to keep the pressure on them too. We will need to demand that our representatives do their job, protect the Miller investigation, and open their own investigations into everything that Trump has done and that his henchmen have done. Now, I see some beautiful signs out here about impeachment and about getting rid of Trump. And so I want to say something, and I want you to listen for a minute, because you might not like this at first, but I'll explain what I mean. For me, this tonight, the thing that we're asking for, that we're demanding tonight, this isn't about removing Trump. I want Trump gone, just like you do. And we can protest his policies, and in 2 years we can vote the bastard out of office. But right now, what we need is the truth. We will follow the truth wherever it leads, because we believe in the rule of law, and we believe in this country's institutions. And everybody should agree with that. Everybody, even Trump supporters, should be out here with us saying, yes, we want transparency, we want the rule of law, we want our institutions to retain their independence and do their jobs. So we need to keep that pressure on. We need to keep protesting, keep raising our voices, keep everybody's eyes on Trump's and Whitaker. We need to make sure that the whole world keeps watching. Thank you all very much for being here.